Hello everyone, Aaron here from JumpCut Play, and today I'm honoured to be joined by the one and only David Bateson, aka Agent 47. Thank you for chatting with us today, David, and congratulations on the success of Hitman 3.
Thank you for having me, Aaron. Yeah, Hitman 3. Well, I did it all by myself. I'm the least important person in that building, but I'm so proud of IO Interactive for such an achievement. Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about your role as Agent 47, and that's a role you've been associated with now for 21 years. I almost said 41.
It feels like 41.
So for anyone that doesn't know, how did you manage to don the barcode, so to speak?
Yeah, here's the thing. I nearly got the barcode tattooed on my head last year. I came this close. More about that later.
Yeah.
Purely by chance. Of course, I auditioned, and if they hadn't liked what I was doing, then I wouldn't have got the part. But it was one of those amazing moments in life where you just happen to be in the right place at the right time. And I was in the studio, and in the next studio, they were editing, making the computer graphics for this new game. And they just came in and actually interrupted my voice session and said, "Hey, David, when you're finished, won't you come and have a look at this computer game we're doing? Because we need a voice." I went, "Oh, okay." And that, unfortunately, is how I got it. Led me to having a shot at it. I mean, I wish I'd said, there was me and 3,000 other very talented people up for this role, but that's not how it happened.
So were video games like on your radar to a massive degree at that point, like before you were voicing 47?
No, in terms of playing them or being interested in voicing.
Voicing. Yeah,
not at all. It's definitely on my radar now.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I mean, 21. It's hard to imagine, Aaron, but 21 years ago, it's you look at the quality of the games and the technology and the industry as a whole. It was like a cottage industry. Even 21 years ago, there hadn't been a computer game probably much further back than 10 years before that. It was like Pac-Man and asteroids or something.
Yeah.
Almost. So no, it wasn't. If only I could. Now, as a member of BAFTA Games, I get to see all the submissions for nominations, and that is a religious experience. I mean, I sit there and I'm going, "Oh my goodness, what? No way! What could we think of next?" And that's the most fascinating thing about this industry. It's limitless. It's just up to you, the imagination of the computer programmer and level designer. So a very exciting world, but it was not on my radar 21 years ago in any form.
So yeah, you were kind of mentioning there, like, well, obviously it's become a far more, as in the games industry, it's become a far more respected industry since when Hitman originally started, and as it's become a lot more reputable, and it's become a bit more like mechanically complex with the graphics and all this kind of stuff. Do you find it has been more demanding on you as an actor? Like, do you feel the need to up the ante every time you come back?
That's a very good question. Yes, is the very short answer, but I've never been asked that before. That's a great question. Yeah, it's here's the thing. The very first game, Codename 47, IO Interactive set the bar high at that time. They said, "Listen, this is it's an open sandbox, but it's here's a hint: silent assassin. It's not going to bazooka duels on the streets of downtown LA. So don't go kicking doors in, because you'll get yourself killed.
Yeah.
Sneak around and work it out, because we're not going to tell you. We're not going to make it easy. And I like that, and I remember the reviews from the first game also expressed that. They said, this game is on a different level. It's not dumbing down to get more players.
Mm-hmm.
You either get it or go away and play something else. So that was a good start, I think, which has given them a longevity, I think, of the players, because it's never dumbed down. Now that added to which the technology evolvement over all those years. It's no one ever says, when I read a review of a Hitman game, no matter how fantastic they are, it's more ask the players, because that's the future, that's the oxygen of our existence. Are the players buying it? What do they think? And obviously, I don't have no access to every single player out there or what they think, but there is an expectation from the players that the game is going to be much more advanced. And when they play that next game, and it is, they don't go, "Wow, congratulations, the game is much more advanced." They go, "Yeah, that's what I was expecting." So everyone's directly going, "Shit, what are we doing next?" I mean, so there is that. No matter how much the industry and how fast it's growing in terms of sophistication, it's only just matching the players' expectations, and the players aren't going, "Wow, that was amazing! The graphics were much better than." They're just going, "Yeah, when's the next game?" So there's, I think, if the game was crap or technologically dumber than the previous game, then the players would shout out again, "Hey, this is a pile of poo! What the graphics have gone all 2-dimensional. I mean, hey, we're my virtual reality, brother." But yeah, so it's a challenge, and coming to voice it. Well, I'll sum it up in one sentence. The first game took me about 3 to 4 hours tops to voice the whole game. In fact, the first few games took around that kind of period. Now it takes me about 6 months.
Wow.
4 to 6 months, closer to 6 months, where I go in about every 6 weeks, I guess. And we're going to sit there for a 4-hour session where we all kind of going, "Well, and you're going, flipping out. This is so. Yeah, as a voice actor, definitely, it's become infinitely more challenging and demanding.
That process when you come back every 6 weeks, is that a case of looking at the levels that they've designed, IO have designed, and then trying to find the bits of dialogue that fit into that?
No, how normally it is that obviously they going back 5 years or so, they had a story arc for the trilogy. They knew what they wanted to do in 1, 2, and 3, and I'm sure they'd written synopses of each game, and they. I've said to them often, actually, I said, "Oh, I just love to be in the room when you guys were making this up." "Oh, what are you on?" When but they, from my point of view, practically speaking, they're not writing. They are writing basically one level at a time. That's not quite true. Obviously, they have written things, but we're taking on 1 or 2 levels at a time when I turn up. So I'm not thinking of level 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's just the intro cinematics. Or now we'll do some of the top and tail CGIs at the beginning of and end of each level. And we'll just concentrate on those lines and all the one-liners, the throwaway stuff. Which, by the way, I'll come back to that in a second. That's a good story there. But and then next time we meet up, we'll do pickups from the previous session. Maybe they've changed their mind that, okay, we were going to use a big a big long shot when he's coming up the beach, when he's talking to Diana. But now we decided to use a close-up. It's just on his face, and he's talking to Diana. So it needs a different intensity in the way he's talking. There can be small things like that, or we've put the dialogue up against the graphics, and it's missing something. We've got a couple of extra, rewrites here. Then we'll go on to the next level or two, and that's how it builds in blocks. And then maybe at the end, I think this time around I was called in for a shorter session for like 2 hours or something, just to do some odd pickups through the whole script. But all the other actors, as far as I know, are recorded in the UK.
All right.
So I don't know if they get to see each other and hang out and drink coffee, but it's a bloody lonely experience for me. Hello. I mean, I'm there with the writers and some of the creatives, so it's not lonely. And of course the sound engineer. But it is that you're going, oh, it must have been great working with so and so. And again, no, I've never met them. In fact, I only met the three other leads, Jane Perry and John, and oh no, can't remember his name now. Philip. Sorry, Philip. When we did a Zoom interview with All Things Hitman.
Yeah, I actually saw that.
That was the first time where we actually got to look at each other on the screen. Hello, oh, hi, and that was fabulous. So 3 cheers for technology. So Zoom to the rescue. The thing I wanted to say was about the other element of the writing of the recording process taking longer now is that it started in Hitman 1 and it exploded in Hitman 2 and it's just gone mental in Hitman 3 are all the one-liners, all the kind of meaningless lines that he says when he's in disguise. And I was really against that. When what the hell ever happened to Silent Assassin? Hello, he's got verbal diarrhea. And he said, no, trust us. It's a part of, back to the technology question, it is a part of that development. But IO Interactive felt like there were long periods, obviously, when Agent 47 is in disguise as a waiter or as a cook or whatever, that he doesn't say anything. He's just kind of walking around in disguise. And that's downtime for the player's involvement with Agent 47. So they said, just go with us on this. We're going to give him all these like dumbass things to say. Would you like some more ice in your gin and tonic? Certainly, madam. And again, another slice for you, sir. And you're going, what? What happened to my hero? But they were right. When I played Hitman 2, I felt that, okay, I'm in this together with Agent 47. It really worked. These sequences where he's in disguise and he's working out how to get around, and he has these throwaway dialogues. You just feel more connected to him, and that's fun for the player. So, and an added level of sophistication again, as we talked about.
Yeah, that kind of those little throwaway lines as well. I always found that they added a slight like tinge of the situational comedy almost, because he was being he's giving away these like assassination puns where he's like, oh yes, this is simply to die for, or whatever, things like that. And I found that those points quite funny in the game. Do you think is that something that the writers were you fully aware that would grow into that when they were recording those lines?
This is a chicken and egg situation, which came first, because, okay, they're not the original writers from 21 years ago when we were writing with quill pens and, by candlelight. But they, basically the writers and myself have grown up together over many years. And there is an element where, are they writing a line which is just, how they imagine Agent 47 should say this line, or are they thinking on occasionally, oh, I could hear David saying this line as Agent 47? Because I have really kind of tried over the years, especially when it was real one-line stuff, monologue stuff, to infuse a kind of life curiosity and very black, dark humor into his lines, just to kind of give him a bit of an edge, And I think that as that got picked up by the fans of the game, going, yeah, I like that. He's so cool. That the writers then go, that's the way to go. We don't want to make him too flippant. I remember getting back to James Bond, which obviously now is interesting for IO Interactive as their next franchise. In the early 2 or 3 films or something from the 60s, when Sean Connery is out there doing his I'm doing Scottish to a Scot. It's not going to end well.
Blasphemy right there.
He comes from Edinburgh. Okay, forgive him.
No.
He should have come from Glasgow. Okay.
Yeah, that would have been a far different Bond.
Yes, a completely different character, right? But his toughness and his dry, dark humor was deadly. And then, when Roger Moore came along, it turned into a bloody stand-up comic, and he lost the danger because it was all it just it lost its edge. And we didn't want to do that. I know that much, that they were aware that, listen, if we make this all jokey, Agent 47 won't be dangerous. And this is a man who's not fully formed and doesn't know where he's come from. And he was made in a laboratory to kill people. There's not much funny going on here. But it has definitely, they are aware of it. And those lines sometimes hang in the air. This will be a line to remember, but we try and really keep it very heavily disguised, so it doesn't sound like stand-up. It shouldn't. It should be serious, but it'll all be over soon, sir. You won't be feeling a thing. You just let it hang in the air, going, because you're gonna die. It's no matter how bad they are, it's not a laughing matter. So I hope we've kept that balance, the writers and myself.
Yeah, so that was actually one of my notes that I had. Is I noticed in the kind of, it was like the vocal inflections and your timing, it suggested the emotions and the curiosity. It's funny that you say that. So what are the challenges then to trying to convey slight emotions in somebody that's supposed to be sort of emotionless?
Yeah, well, there's an extra element to this. Agent 47 is he's a crap actor. Let's face it. When he's disguised as a Mexican waiter, he doesn't do buenos dias, señor. No. He's just the same. Okay, would you like? He's just. He's. I remember I laughed out so loud in Paris, first level of Hitman 1, and he ends up backstage with all these fashion models and very camp sort of makeup people and fashion designers and for the first time ever, I felt, because I really, really know this guy, Agent 47. He is as close to me as a real friend as I will ever get. Because I really mean that. I just would love to go and have a beer with him. But I really felt for the first time that I'm standing there in disguise as some kind of backstage person at this fashion show, and this camp guy comes up to me and he starts talking to me. Well, hello. And I suddenly thought, Agent 47 has no information in this area. I used to getting, and it was great because he's not a great actor. I you should check that game sequence out. He's really kind of like he's well, I'm looking for the bathroom. He's really kind of he's been wrong-footed because he just doesn't know quite how to deal with this
Uh-huh.
flamboyant character. He can deal with evilness, no
Hmm.
problem, and he can make all the dry sarcasm stuff. But that's the beauty of the what has become over the years with Agent
Hmm.
47, that he has genuinely become a real person.
Hmm.
And in saying that, I mean that the fans have really taken to him. They
Hmm.
like this guy, or they going, "Oh, this will be good."
Hmm.
And that's again what the writers were clever to see, that that it could take these relatively uninteresting or meaningless lines,
Hmm.
and Agent 47 as this real person who just wants to get to his target and kill him,
Hmm.
has to deliver to complete strangers and keep going and keep going. You don't get discovered and walk away from. It's all become more realistic,
Hmm.
and I think that the fans' dedication, especially if they've been fans for a long time,
Hmm.
have really taken on board.
Hmm.
But the new players, I think they just. It'd be interesting to talk to someone who's never played Hitman and had never had any access to it, and then just plays Hitman 2 or 3 or something, and
Hmm.
going, "What do you think? Do you care about this guy called
Hmm.
47?"
Yeah, well, I mean, I myself, Hitman 3 is my first Hitman that I've properly dived into,
Wow,
because I'd played
great, isn't it?
Absolution, and then just
Yeah,
just one Hitman and Hitman 2, when the IO's new trilogy was coming about, was
yeah.
something was always on my. I've got the biggest backlog of games ever.
I
So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play. I'll still
will get
consider
there. I will
myself
get
to. I still consider myself to be playing games that I haven't touched in a year. So I'm like
there.
one of those guys. So
Oh,
it
really?
takes it takes me so long, and then eventually when Hitman 3 came around, I was like, no, this is the one. I'm gonna pick it
That's
up,
it.
and then I
I'm
put.
locking the door. Go
Uh,
away.
so I put in over 50 hours, I think, so far into the
Shit!
newest
Really?
Hitman. Yeah.
Respect.
So I'm still, and the thing is, I'm still trying to get all the, you have your little challenges
Oh,
um
yeah.
popping up. But so what have you experienced that throughout the years with like new players coming on and showing their appreciation for the character? I mean, this franchise now has spanned like, what is it? Must be like 4 console generations, I
Yeah.
think.
I
Uh-huh.
think I think it's at least 4 actually.
Hmm.
It might be 5. Well, I tell you what is the most weird thing is having players come on and saying, "I've started playing you 20 years ago, and now my children are playing you." I go, "Oh,
Yeah.
God. Oh, that is just too weird." But I don't get it. I'm still 24, aren't I? You know. It'll come to you one day. But
Yeah.
no, that is mind bending.
Hmm.
Imagine talking to a dedicated fan whose daughters or sons are now playing this game,
Hmm.
and they're playing it together, and that is just a
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
Mhm.
I mean, I have it a little bit at home with when I got 3 daughters, and 2 of my daughters have played the game, and I think it's slightly questionable when you hear your daughter going, "Dad, it's so cool. Oh, to hear you in my head when I'm strangling this man from behind." I'm going, what's wrong with this image? I'm a bad dad, you know. Although it did scare off a few of their boyfriends, going, "Yes,
I can
tonight
imagine that
you are
would
going
be,
to meet Agent 47."
yeah, that'd be a little bit intimidating, I'd imagine.
I'd just love to be there polishing my ballers, thinking, "Hi, so you are," you know, just to see the look on their face. No, uh, that's been fun. There was something else I wanted to say about that. It'll come back to me. We'll
Mhm.
carry on.
Well, what has it been like then to become associated with what is now a gaming icon? Because I knew about 47 before I actually touched any of the games, for years.
Yeah.
So what has that been like, being associated with that?
Well, it didn't, the full weight of that icon status, scary, only first hit me back in 2015, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
when I went to the EGX in Birmingham to launch I think that was the first of the trilogy,
Yeah.
World of Assassination, Hitman 1, because I got to meet the fans up close and personal, and that blew me away, and it was a very humbling experience, to be honest, because I suddenly went, shit, man, these people have come all the way from London dressed as Agent 47 on on public transport. No, there were two things there. We had in the middle of the EGX is the biggest room I've ever been in, ever. I don't even know how big that, when they have 9 of them, I think. But the EGX room was, I don't know, I'm guessing it's a kilometer long and 500 meters wide or something semi-insane. But in the middle of this room, they had they built a stage and an auditorium for 500 people. And all the gamers, makers of games, they could pitch in for getting a 25-minute slot in which to present whatever they wanted to a room full of their fans. And IO Interactive and Square Enix at the time, the owners of IO Interactive, they managed to wangle 47 minutes with Agent 47. So the game, good, we should have made him Agent 93. Anyway, but that, I remember standing there with some of the clever people from IO Interactive who would talk about level design and the open sandbox and blah blah blah. And I'm staring out there at the sea of people, and a lot of them were dressed as me. And they all got to be able to stand up and ask a question. And that 47 minutes, we should have had an hour and 47. It blew by. So that was the one thing. And I went, and the fact that getting to the middle of that room was a challenge. I had all these bodyguards or minders surrounding. And I went, is this absolutely necessary? He said, we'll never make it if we don't have I went, really? Should I be worried? No. Can you run fast? Yeah, I can. And so, it was like just jockeying to get to the center. So that was the one thing. And then the other thing at that event was when we had a meet and greet session booked for half an hour, and where it went mental. It it was ridiculous. The queue was as long as I could see outside our little area. Our area luckily was in the corner of the whole massive room. But the point being that session from 4 to 4:30 went until 7:45 in the evening. The security came to us at 5:45 and said, "Listen, we're closing. Here are the keys. We've locked off the rest of the building. Don't let them wander around, But good luck." I'm thinking, "Oh, thanks very much." He just right as crap. Nice to meet you. But it was in a most wonderful experience. Not because it had anything to do with me, but because it gave me a chance to actually talk to real people and going, so what's your favorite game? What was your favorite level? And why do you like? And, and then I was taking photographs and signing posters and stuff. But that was when it became just super real, that I felt that kind of responsibility to always I must be there for these people, for all interviews and any PR stuff. I don't need the attention, but this franchise and the fans need this attention because they deserve it. They're crazy people. No, so yeah, it's as an experience, and I've been to other conventions since, and I'm kind of more used to it now. I will say this: I was with Sean Bean, who was an elusive target in Hitman 2. And he's been to all these kind of press junkets, so it's no big deal. But at the Paris Games, he shat himself. He totally did. We're about to go on stage. I won't tell the whole story, but we're at the PlayStation stand, again in the middle of the Paris Games venue, and there are I don't know how many thousands of people are on the other side of this curtain. And Hitman! They're going absolutely mental, and the French interviewer is doing a big sort of lead up. Mesdames, Monsieur, ailleurs interactive, le Hitman, and he was at the top of the steps to go in first. And as this guy got to the crescendo of his announcement, the fans went mental, and he went. Sean Bean, being the sort of laid back Yorkshireman, he quietly came down the steps and he said, I think you should go first. Went, Why? He said, I think they're going to tear us apart. And because it felt like it. So, and he'd not experienced perhaps that kind of, just gung-ho gaming enthusiasm before. Probably a little bit more civilized than on the red carpets in Hollywood. And but that scared him out of his pants. Going, shit, I think they're going to tear us apart. You go first. It all went well, but I loved it.
So that's hilarious. I could just love to.
You could just see Sean Bean. Calm down.
So obviously it's been 21 years now since the launch of Hitman Codename 47, which, for a bit of context, I was 4 years old when that came out.
Oh my God, you had to do that. Where's the off switch? Where's the off switch?
Interview cancelled. But across that time that you've voiced Agent 47. I know, that's it. I'm blacklisted.
I'll do you for free. I'll be right around. Just where's my gun?
But so you voiced 47 across what is like 8 mainline Hitman games, and so what keeps you coming back after all this time?
Oh, I just love it. I mean, I took a photograph after I was finished with my last sentence. In my last recording session for Hitman 3, and I think it was a late one. It was late October or even November. I can't remember, but it was late. It was just before they were going to start print the disc and get it all done and dusted. And I just took a quick selfie because I was just trying to capture what I was feeling. And I just looked in the camera. I didn't do any stupid smart. I just snapped. And I took a couple of photographs, and I didn't want to show them to anyone afterwards because when I saw what I was looking at, I could totally read my feelings. And there were that every few years I get to hang out with this amazing, iconic, character for about as I said, for about 6 months. And I love every single second of sitting in the studio and discussing the lines. And, we normally do three takes of each line. And we discuss it. And then I, goof around a bit and say a line a bit differently or just messing about. And so the point being is I really enjoy being in the company of Agent 47 for that period of time. And when I get to the end, I always feel a sadness because I'm going, oh, he's going away now. I hope he sends a postcard. I'm not going to see him for a while. Damn, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to miss him.
Mm-hmm.
And I genuinely feel that. So, as an actor, it's also an incredible privilege to get a chance to play the same character for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You're normally only associated with a character, 3 to 6 months tops,
Mm-hmm.
if it's for TV, theater, or a film for that matter. Um, so it is a rare thing. So you get to know people, the person you're playing, very intensely, and then they're gone from your lives forever. 3, 4, 5 months later or thereabouts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a bummer sometimes if you really like the character.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going, "Oh, I had a good time." And I've always had a good time and I love the character. So yeah, it's going to be going, "Oh, bum." Okay, when can we come back?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously now it's, it goes without saying that everything's on hold now because
Mm-hmm.
all hands are on deck for the James Bond computer game, which is not I will admit this is not a quantum leap
Mm-hmm.
from one assassin to another assassin. And the writers are also now totally on top of dry throwaway, you expect me to die? No, you expect me to talk? Now, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. All those lovely, I think they're gonna do a good job.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I'm gonna miss it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how long it'll be, before your Hitman comes back.
Mm-hmm. If this was to be the last time, do you feel that you're ready to move on from the character?
I wish I could say yes, be all mature about it. No, I'm still 24 in my head. I will come after them. I have a special set of skills, that good, which makes me a nightmare for people like you. I will find you, and when I find you, I will kill you. I will find IO Interactive. I will hunt them down and murder them. No, of course I won't. But yeah, who knows? I'm not grown up enough to just going, well, I need to move on now and play. I don't know, what's his name? In Lord of the Rings. One man, one ring to fight. What's his name? What's the wizard's name?
You talking about Saruman or
Yeah,
Gandalf?
Gandalf.
Gandalf.
I'm not ready to play Gandalf. I'm sorry. No, I'll miss it big time. And who knows, uh, what the next, the reboot of Hitman will be like.
Mm-hmm.
They just as easily do a prequel, like, Star Wars, and it's going to be Agent 47, the teenager, and then I'm out. But obviously, I hope I get to continue playing.
Mm-hmm. Was there anything from this new trilogy that allowed you to almost like tick something off of your Agent 47 bucket list?
Well, in terms of places that we visited,
or more like exploring the character, was there something within this that you were really
well,
glad?
yeah, two things actually.
Mm-hmm.
Again, nice question. Two things about it. Mr. Gray, I got to hang out with my buddy, who had been, set up as a real villain, and there's that lovely feeling of just going on a mission with someone else.
Yeah,
Agent 47 was not alone, and I actually like that. I think, shit, wait a minute, well, I could have a buddy here. We could do, yeah, this would be cool. Yeah. And then when that all went south, to be in the field with Diana Burnwood, that was really great. We were a great killer team. And also because it was now without rules. We weren't running by the rules of the ICA. And it was, we were just winging it in the field together, there was a kind of a sense of freedom and yeah, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. We're in this together.
Mm-hmm.
And to end the game with that wonderful line, it feels good to be back. I could almost hear myself going, yes, what a cool line, as a fan of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope the players have the same sense, feeling of, yes, the trilogy, he's not going to die. This game is going to go on, and who knows now how it's going to work out with Diana and he and Neil together, or yeah. So there was those were two areas I had genuinely hoped would come about. I hadn't said it to anyone that he would have some kind of a buddy sidekick, someone who really knew him and could help him and go on a hit together, and that Diana would get in the field and get her hands dirty with me, and not just be the kind of the voice of kindness and
yeah.
So I think that's really, those are two elements that I'd wanted to see in the game, and they both came about in Hitman 3. So I haven't even said thank you to Hitman for that, or to I Interactive, but I must do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like those changes, even going from the first, because I had actually played the Paris mission like a lot when it first came out, but then maybe the way I am with games, then never played it till Hitman 3 came out again. So I've got the full trilogy installed and ready to go. But I'm like, I could easily go back and have done the first, the 1 and 2 by now, but I'm just so obsessed with going through 3 the now.
3 is mind. I mean, I lean back. I haven't seen the whole game. I haven't even played the whole game. No, I haven't. I haven't. I've only played the game. I've seen a lot of it. The computer graphics, and obviously I've read the whole script, and I'm up to speed on exactly what's going on and happening in it. But I need to sit down and have a lot of time for Hitman 3. I can feel, and I kind of going, when am I going to find that time? But I have a plan. And I'm not, I just literally have a plan in my own head, thinking, well, Easter is a quiet time for voiceovers. I could hide away the thing is, there's no time off as a parent, and you got kids. They're growing up quite fast, of course, but we're all, especially under lockdown status, so we're all around. So it's like I don't know, doing the shopping, cleaning the house, going seeing the horse, walking the dog, having your morning, early, like I did this morning, dip in the sea, and then walk the dog, and then it's just there's stuff going on. But I'm thinking there's got to be a window of opportunity around Easter where I'm going into this room to do some very important work now, and I mustn't be disturbed.
Do you have like a recording light on to show, just lock yourself in your wee booth? Don't disturb me, I'm working.
Yes. I'm going to put a big red lamp outside this room. When it's on, don't even fart in the next room.
So I've just got a couple of questions left for you. Across your time, you've kind of touched on it a little bit, but has your relationship with 47 changed across these 21 years?
Yeah. In very briefly, just in the sense that it's matured, and as of any friendship, we've grown closer together. And a simple example of that is, I could not say a sentence which Agent 47 would not say. When I'm recording it, I'm going, okay, I'm getting paid to say this line, but this line, something not quite right with it. And the writers, funny enough, sometimes are also in the same situation. They've grown up and matured and got closer to the character of Agent 47, which makes me smile, because they're not actors. I understand that process as an actor. how you become emotionally attached to a role, and sometimes you have to kind of snap out of it when you come home, you know. But I could sometimes even the writers who've written the line, when they hear me say it, and I'm going, "This is not good. There's something wrong about this line," and they go, "Could we just play that back again?" And then we listen to the recording, and I see them either a writer talking to another writer or thinking to himself, "No, this is wrong. This is wrong." There is a synergy in the recording process now, which it's taken 20 years to get to. It's that intense, but we can almost finish each other's sentences. So if I'm saying a line which doesn't quite feel right, that I know that writer, and this is no word of a lie, will stop himself and go, no, right, this doesn't, there's not, no, it has to be a bit more direct here. No, it's just, yeah, change it. And I'm going, good. Or I will say that. Or for example, when we do three takes, and this is no word of a lie, at least 90% of the time, because I would like to say 100%. If I do 3 takes, I know which take he's going to go for. And then he says it out loud to the sound technician, take 3. It often is take 3 actually, but it can also be take 1, which is sometimes a bit more intuitive or spontaneous. But the point being, I know which one he's going to choose. And I'd like to suggest it was 100%, but let's be conservative about it and say 90%. So that's how that synergy and that level of knowledge about the character of Agent 47 has brought the writers and myself together over this long journey. And that is what I will take with it and think is the most fascinating element of being attached to this role.
Do you have any advice that you would have given to yourself in those 3 to 4 hours you were recording the first game?
Don't fuck up. That's good. I really want this role. No, here's the thing. I would have probably been kind of nervous if I'd had any idea of where this game was going to go. If I remember rightly, the developers, the initial game designers, were looking at Hitman as a way to raise capital so they could also branch out with other game franchises that they were considering making at the time. So I think the game also took them by surprise, because suddenly they were a bunch of suits in a 5-story building with 200 programmers, going, what happened? How did we get here? And why am I wearing a suit? It's been a journey which I think no one could have predicted. So I just knew when I saw it that I loved the graphics so much. It was a scene from Hong Kong, from Cognac. It was all very black and white and shadowy, kind of very Blade Runner in look and feel, and sort of Japanese cartoon film from the 50s or something. And which is, the point, Blade Runner is my favorite film of all time. And I just thought, this is a no-brainer. I get to play Harrison Ford. No, it's not Harrison Ford, but I knew straight away, that's what I'm trying to say, that I wanted to do this. And my approach was just to read it a bit like, because I didn't get any direction, it was just like an audition, to do it like a Philip Marlowe detective story. I walked into the door was ajar. It would be down, even dead, cold, dry lines in this very shadowy kind of, 39 steps look about the place. So I'm just I think the question would be better, how would you feel now looking back that you blew it 21 years later and 8 games later, and you cocked it up and didn't get the role? Because I'll be going, where's my baller? Hang
I'm
on.
sure you'd be a very like spiteful man by this point if that had
Yeah,
been.
I know, I'll be so bitter and twisted, you know. Shit, you know.
But David, it's been an absolute pleasure to get to speak to you. Hopefully, we'll get to hear your killer delivery before too long. If
Yeah,
you return
well, let's
again.
hope. Okay, man. Take care.